All right, good morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Len Thompson. I'm the Community Manager for the CA Workload Automation community. Thank you very much for your time today. Today with us we have the members of the DE team that are going to step us through the new version, what's new, and also do a little more of a deep dive. If you have any questions along the way, I would ask you to please put them in the Q&A box right in the WebEx. If you don't see that box in the lower right of your screen right now, just click on the question mark icon up at the top right, and it will open for you. And let's see. So, Deshaun, I'm going to make you the presenter, and then you can take it away, sir.
So, all right, am I driving the slides from this machine, or am I presenting my?
You can change the slides from right within the WebEx.
Okay.
Yeah, got it. Okay, cool.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much, Len. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name is Sudarshan Seshadri. I'm the product manager for DE. I recently took over as this responsibility. Along with us in today's webcast, we also have Srinivas, who's a product owner for DE, great product management leader who's been with us for a very long time. So in today's presentation, we are going to be talking about the new release that came out a couple of weeks ago, 12.0.1, and we'll be talking about some of the new features that were added into this release. And also briefly touch upon the prior release as well, some of the key capabilities in the prior release as well. So please feel free to ask any questions that you might have during this presentation. Let's get started. So prior to this release, 12.0 release came out October of last year, and we had some great functionality introduced in that release, like we bundled a Postgres database and we supported Hadoop job types. And since then, we were busy working on something very interesting. And then what we realized was prior to this release, our customers had to use a desktop client for scheduling and monitoring their cross-enterprise workloads. So data could only be accessed from the desktop clients. And more importantly, for companies which had workload teams distributed across the globe, they were unable to effectively monitor, manage, and schedule workloads in their native languages. Additionally, line of business owners, operators, and application teams could not personalize their dashboards and effectively monitor workload from the desktop client. So we listened to a lot of our customers, and then we started working on a browser-based graphical user interface since last October, and we are very, very excited to talk to you about the latest release, 12.1. So with this release, we now support a modern web-based UI. That is modern, touch-friendly, very intuitive, and it is role-based, and it can be customized by scheduling teams, by line of business owners, by operation teams, and then they can effectively monitor their workload and take corrective actions from the browser-based UI. No plugins are required. We support all modern browsers. It is touch-friendly. It works great on tablets as well. We support modern browsers like IE, Chrome, Firefox, and Safari. More importantly now, with this release, we also offer Unicode support, which allows you to define your jobs, applications, and other artifacts in your local languages. So we support traditional and simplified Chinese, Japanese, Korean, German, and French. So in addition to the web UI, the desktop client and CLI also provide Unicode support. And more importantly, we have also made sure that in-place upgrades are very simple now. So starting 12.0 release, we started supporting in-place upgrades. Now you can very easily and quickly upgrade from prior releases to the current release, and the whole upgrade can be done within minutes. So some of the key benefits we saw coming out of this release was obviously now users are not restricted to use a desktop client for monitoring and scheduling. They can start using a browser-based UI that they can access from anywhere. That is very clean, simple, intuitive, easy to use, and something that is that we continue to invest as we go forward and provide a lot more capabilities in future releases. So with that summary, let's jump in and look at some of the key features in this release. When users log in, when operators and users log into DE through the browser-based UI, what they see is what we refer to as a dashboard. The dashboard has 4 key components, as you can see. The top panel, what we refer to as the active applications panel, active jobs panel, that gives you a real-time status of all the jobs. You can drill down from here based on the status that you selected. or you can look at the active applications. The active application panel essentially tells you how the applications have been trending in the last 2 hours. That allows you to monitor the health of the applications in your workload. The My Watch List area allows you to customize and take applications or views that you have defined in your DE instance, and you can bring them into your My Watch List area. You can customize and monitor the health of your business services and applications. So very quickly, you can look at applications, application generations, your custom views, and see how those jobs in the workload is actually progressing. Additionally, the other component that's available here is what we refer to as My Pins. This allows you to pin specific job and application runs and allows you to monitor them till they're complete. So these are some of the key capabilities available on the dashboard. So from the dashboard, you can drill down. Obviously, the dashboard is real-time. It shows the real-time status of all these jobs. The application trend is a snapshot that gets updated, and it shows you the trend over the past 2 hours. So from the dashboard, when you drill down, this dashboard is obviously customizable. So if you click on the pencil icon that you see here, you can essentially pick the applications or views that you want displayed in your My Watch List area. So when you drill down from the dashboard, you go down to what we refer to as the application page, or where you can start monitoring applications. So here you can see the status of various applications on top. These are clickable filters, so you can basically click on these to see the application generations that roll into that particular state. You can take corrective actions on application generations from here. You can also drill down to an application and see all the jobs and see how that application and the workload is progressing for that application. Obviously, this is real-time data. This page is very customizable. You can search for applications. You can trigger events on applications. You can sort and reorder. You can also sort and reorder columns on this view as well. So you can come into the monitor perspective directly from by clicking on monitor as well. That allows you to essentially drill down and also look at it from a jobs perspective. So if you're interested in looking at how your jobs have been trending and what they're doing, you can essentially come down to the jobs perspective and then look at jobs in various statuses. So if you click on the pie chart or the donut chart on the dashboard, you drill down and you look at the underlying jobs in each of these statuses. You can drill down from here, go down to job detail and take corrective actions. You can export this list. You can search by job names or states. You can take corrective actions on one or more applications from here, right from this page. Similarly, even on the applications page, this allows you to act on one or more applications at the same time. So when you drill down from here, you go down to what we refer to, when you come down from the monitor applications page, you can look at the application and how the application is performing. You can take corrective actions on the application, like it said. You can pin jobs to the dashboard. You can pin job runs to the dashboard. You can add application to your watch list. So if you want to monitor how this application is performing, how far it's complete, how much of it is complete, how it's progressing, you can add it to your dashboard as well from here. So when you drill down, when you actually scroll down, what you see is from an application view, you can see to make monitoring large and complex flows easier, the monitoring view allows users to personalize and visualize entire job streams along with all their dependencies. So users can essentially focus on jobs and their dependencies, and it also highlights what's currently running and the complete flow path for the job, including its dependencies. So this allows you to effectively monitor how your workload is progressing and take corrective actions if necessary. So, and we have additional controls. So if you have large and complex flows, you can essentially use some of these controls provided here to zoom in, change the layout of this flow, and focus on specific jobs. So when you start clicking on jobs, you can see the status of the job and take corrective actions from there. So like the desktop client, you can monitor the progress as well. You can see how much of your flow is complete and what remains. And with built-in critical path monitoring, very quickly it highlights the critical path and tells you which of these jobs are holding up your flow. More importantly, you have multiple ways to visualize your workload. You can visualize it in what we call as a flow view. So you can essentially see this flow. You can also visualize it in a time view, which is essentially a Gantt chart. So you can essentially see the order of execution of jobs with respect to time, or you can choose to see them in a tabular format as well. And more importantly, similar to the job details and application details page, you can take corrective actions on jobs, on applications. You can search for jobs within the flow. So if your flows are large and complex, you're looking for specific jobs that you know have been problematic in the past, you can just search for that specific job and zoom right into the job in a flow and then take corrective action from there. So the define perspective allows you to essentially define applications, define the various artifacts available in DE. So you can essentially define an application, add jobs into the application. You can define events, alerts, calendars, and other artifacts as well. So from here, essentially, you can define the applications that you want in your workload and then add job types into that workflow. So as of the 12.01 release, we support 13 job types from a scheduling perspective on the UI, on the web UI. And we do have plans in the, to support the remaining job types from the browser as well in future releases. So in this release, we support task and link jobs, database jobs, external jobs, file transfer jobs, monitoring jobs, system jobs. So in future, we do have plans to support Hadoop Informatica, SQL Server, Oracle EBS, PeopleSoft, and SAP jobs. For the jobs that are not available in the defined perspective, you can still monitor all those jobs and take corrective action, job actions from the web UI. It's just that you cannot do scheduling for those job types that are currently not available on the UI. Another important feature that we added in this release was the ability to work in an offline mode. So essentially, you can collaborate with multiple users when defining your workload. So this is a very important feature that allows scheduling team to work together collaboratively to define their workload. So like I said, you can define the jobs, the various attributes for those applications and jobs. We've made the UI very simple, very clean, easy to use, so you can essentially define your jobs very easily and effectively. And we do have plans in future to expose the scheduling APIs as RESTful services, so you can your application teams can leverage them more effectively without having to use the web UI for scheduling purposes. So you can also create personal views. In addition to global views, you can also create personal views from the browser. You can specify the columns that you want to add, the fields that you want displayed. You can specify your sorting and display preferences. You can even preview how your view looks like before you save. And after you do this, you go back to the dashboard, go to the My Watch List area, and then drag those views that you want to monitor on your dashboard from there. Any questions so far? Okay, now let's talk about some of the other features in this release as well. So we started supporting in-place upgrades from the 12.0 release. We've actually simplified it much further, like I mentioned, and it's very clean and simple to use now. On 64-bit Linux platforms, admins can now install and run the DE server with the embedded database PostgreSQL as non-root users. So previously, our customers had voiced a concern that users have to be logged in as root in order to be able to install and run DE. Now that limitation is no longer applicable. Similarly, non-root users can now start and stop the embedded database as well. So besides this, we've also done some housekeeping from an installation perspective. Like I said, we've made it very simple, and then the repair install has also been streamlined. It's very simple to use now. Additionally, now we'll talk about some of the features in the prior release, the 12.0 release as well. So as all of you know, starting the 12.0 release, we bundled Postgres database, which now gives you an option to use the bundled database if you want to. We also continue to support the databases that we supported previously, Additionally, we've done some performance improvements and specified additional tuning parameters for Oracle. So that will greatly improve your performance. Along the same lines, we've also done some enhancements around the way we handle events to support multi-threading. So therefore, you can now trigger and run large number of events without having any performance implications on the DE server. Besides that, we do have two key features that were highly voted on the ideation site: auto resubmitting of failed jobs and application mass updates. So auto resubmit of failed jobs functionality has been enhanced to now send out email and SNMP notifications only for the last retry failure. So now this feature allows users to get notified the final retry attempt fails for auto submit failed jobs, instead of being notified every time when the job is failing. So besides that, we now support application mass updates both from the desktop client and from the browser. So we request you to continue logging your enhancement requests to the ideation website and vote on other requests that you think will be valuable for you. We continue to look at that and take from that and bring those into future releases as well. Besides this, some other minor enhancements, like you can now provide hyperlinks in your comments field. So when you enter comments in job application or remarks box, text boxes for an event, you can now include hyperlinks as well. Srinivas, any other points that you want to highlight?
Yeah, sure, Sudarshan. Like with respect to the hyperlinks, earlier, we got a feedback that when there is a lot of job documentation that need to be inputted in jobs and applications and event definitions, it's quite cumbersome. That has been simplified right now with this hyperlinks that is introduced. And I would like to touch base on security enhancements that has been introduced in R12 release. So in R12, we empowered workload administrators to restrict the operations team from redefining jobs at runtime and also resubmitting workload at runtime. So wherever we want to restrict our operations team not to resubmit the workload, we given greater control through APPLX permissions. We added additional permissions. Similarly, workload administrators can also actually limit the operations teams for subscribing to only portions of the workload. In addition to that, as Sudarshan already touched based on multi-threading event manager, that's a bigger improvement, performance improvement and scalability introduced in our tool release. We do have reporting and database performance improvements. In fact, the CAN reports performance has been improved in our tool release as we introduced indexing on all the 3 enterprise databases we support, including the open source PostgreSQL. So any CAN reports, the existing 8 reports that we have are retrieving used data. Now we see an improvement in getting the data back. Faster performance with respect to reports retrieval, and also the forecast reports. By default, we introduced a configuration parameter for administrators where 4 threads are allowed. So when a forecast report is ran or scheduled, so in parallel 4 threads can run the forecast reports. Similarly, in case of event multi-threading, we introduced a configuration parameter where 10 threads are allowed by default. Depending on underlying system configuration, administrators can choose to increase the number of threads that they need. It's all about the number of events and huge workload that required to be processed by the server at a single point of time. Based on the business need, DE server can run huge number of events at a time from our tool release onwards.
Okay, great. So let's move on and also talk about some of the other enhancements. We also added support for HP nonstop workload. So now you can essentially define HP nonstop route types to run a program on the HP integrity nonstop system. You can define and schedule these jobs and specify parameters associated with that job, HP nonstop job. Additionally, in this release, we've also made enhancements to the way we support FFTP job type commands. So here, essentially now, what you can also do is do all the prep work. So basically, you can rename the source directory or change the source file before you start certain operations, or you can perform cleanup operations by deleting the source directory or the source files after the FFTP operations have been complete. So this allows you to effectively do the preparatory work before the operation begins, and allows you to perform cleanup operations after the FFTP operations are complete. Like I mentioned earlier, you can also perform mass updates on applications from the desktop client and from the browser. You can specify the applications that you want to update, and then you can perform updates on them. From a desktop client perspective, you can update mass applications. You can update various parameters like the agent groups, tags, comments, and JavaScript attributes. Users can also update from the UI as well, from the browser UI as well. So another important enhancement added to the 12.01 release was the job map CLI command. So with the CLI command, you can now run activity reports wherein you can specify events and a scheduled time, and it will tell you on jobs that are scheduled to run at that time and the history of those jobs from a previous run also. This gives you better control and prediction and predictability over your future workloads. And last but not the least, in the prior release, we added support for Hadoop job types. So you can define the 5 new Hadoop job types through the desktop client today. We do have plans to bring them into the browser as well.
So with the Hadoop advanced integration that has been introduced, right, so the IT organizations gains more visibility and manage dependencies between the Hadoop and then traditional jobs from one central location, so that all the like if there are any SLAs in the jobs that can be monitored and any critical paths that can be managed very well. You can now define Hadoop jobs like as in the webcast that's projected 5 job types, and add to workflows. So this native integration for Hadoop and then enterprise applications actually facilitates an easier way for all the staff to create, schedule, manage the big data business services very effectively.
And we support Cloudera and hot-end distribution, Hadoop distributions for now. And they pretty much use the standard agent functionality, just to add to what Srinivas mentioned, which include encryption, control, configuration, security, logs, and so on. With that, with the 12.01 release, we've had the opportunity to do validation with a lot of our customers. So we did set up an environment where they could, in our DMZ environment, outside our DMZ environment, that customers could log in and then play around with the web UI. We did give an opportunity for customers to download the pre-GA drops and play around with the 12.01 release. We've received very good feedback. A lot of our customers feel it's a very good step in the right direction. We'll continue to invest on the web UI. We plan to move all of the important functionality from the DE web client, the desktop client, to the browser. And the goal here is to make it simple, clean, easy to use for scheduling and operations teams. And more importantly, as your applications teams start to leverage scheduling capabilities, we also want to expose web services that will allow them to easily schedule and monitor the jobs that they're responsible for. With that, we do have quite a bit of sessions in CA World scheduled in November. So if you plan to attend CA World, please do visit our DE booths for a hands-on demo. We're happy to demo the functionality to you as well. And you can download and play around with the current release from the support site. Please reach out to me or Srinivas if you have any questions. So Len, that concludes our presentation for today.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Do we have any questions for Sudarshan and Srinivas? I don't see any coming in the WebEx, but we can give folks a minute or two.
I'll go back to the second or third slide where we put our names there so people can reach out to us.
It does look like we're going to have a question soon from Chandra. Chandra, please let us know what question we can answer for you today. Pardon me. And while folks are typing, just so everyone knows, I'll be posting a replay of this session out in the community later today, along with the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, guys, the first question I see is, I'd like to know about version management in CA Workload Automation DE.
Okay, so the version management for the application artifact has been built into the product. So whenever there is a new application with additional jobs or updates on the job definitions has been maintained within the product itself. So users can download whichever earlier version of application they can download and then modify it. And we also manage parallel updates on different applications from different clients very effectively. So please do let me know if that answers your question.
So I think Chandra is asking for lifecycle management, so the ability to essentially track the lifecycle of a job and application and then promote it from dev to test to production.
Sure. So for lifecycle management, currently we have the utilities. IMX util is one of the utility that we provide along with the DE server product in the server bin directory. So using that utility, we can export all the artifacts in XML format, for instance, applications, agents, and also the other artifacts that we have for the events, calendars. Everything can be exported from dev environment to and then imported back into the test environment. So the same is applicable for the production environment also, right? So that's one way to do. And the other way is through desktop client, it's only supported for the application artifacts. We can copy the application artifacts between the environments that are connected through desktop client. This is the second option. And in fact, we do have like one more option where using the parameters, JavaScript variables, where we define the applications. So we do have customers using specific names and conventions at the dev environments and test environments and production environments. So once we externalize these variables, then these variables at the ESP level can be updated. So indicating dev, test, and production environments, so that using IMX util and then the variabilizing supported by JavaScripting, we can manage effectively the lifecycle management requirements.
Thanks, Srinivas. I think there was another question. Can we run 12.0 and 12.01 on the same desktop client?
Yeah, so for that one, in fact, 12.0 requires its desktop client that we package with the 12.0 release. And between 12.0 and 12.1 desktop client, there are changes. It's not compatible. So for 12.1, we need to use 12.1 desktop client.
12.1 desktop client, right? Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, so we will still keep the desktop client. We'll continue to support the desktop client until pretty much all the functionality has been ported and moved over to the browser. Until then, we'll continue supporting all the existing functionality in the desktop client. But moving forward, our goal is to invest on the browser. So essentially, the goal is to move existing functionality and add new functionality through the browser, and at the same time make scheduling and monitoring very easy and easy to use from a browser perspective.
Yeah.
There was another question. Hyperlinks in the comments field, will they support JavaScript variables?
Okay, so comments actually designated for, we don't do any processing from job definitions where we have comment section. It's like a free-form text or any hyperlinks. The JavaScript variables are not supported in comments area. In fact, we do not see any use cases where like JavaScripting variables need to be supported through comments. Yep.
I think Chandra had a follow-up question from a lifecycle management perspective. I think she was asking, what if someone is making changes to the same application? Do we log the application? Is there a check-in, check-out version control process?
Okay, so so to Chandra, just to answer this one, because to facilitate a single user who is actually operating on application modifications, we introduced lock and unlock functionality. That's there pretty much in desktop client and the new web client that we introduced also. So when parallel users are downloaded applications and then editing, the first user once locked, until that user uploads the application and unlocks it, the other user changes won't be effective. So we manage that built-in, and then we also throw appropriate warning message to the other users when they try to upload. Their changes won't be affected.
So essentially, the first user that downloads or makes any changes, we lock the application, and then until that user checks in the file back, any changes from other users will be prevented.
Yeah, right, Sudarshan. In fact, like we also introduced explicitly lock operation, so we expect users log the application, because if they are going to work on that application updates for some time, then better we recommend to log the application, do updates, and upload it, and then unlock the application so that other users can do.
There's a question from Roberto. We have WL 11.3 running on Linux with SQL database 2008 release 2. Is that particular configuration supported? MS SQL 2008.
Oh, SQL 2008 and R11.3, it's supported. Yes, so we have the support matrix on CA Support Online published for R11.3, R12, R12.01 releases. So clearly we stated like SQL 2008 R2 with R11.3 SP3 is supported. And also I would like to mention the point that in 11.3 the greatest release is Service Pack 3, and the latest build number is 1414. We expect all our customers to upgrade their builds to 1414 build in R11.3. So that version is supporting this SQL Server version.
And from a reporting perspective, absolutely, we definitely want to move all the reporting functionality from the desktop, move it over to the browser. So from a report scheduling perspective, you'll be able to define your reports and schedule reports for delivery from the browser itself. So we do definitely have plans to move to the browser as well and make that self-service.
Yeah. Oh.
Looks like we have a few more questions, guys. Okay, can you see them? You might need to scroll that. Scroll that box a little bit. That's kind of weird.
Okay. Okay, so we have a PCA environment running our desktop client, and how are you going to be handling security holes updates, new discoveries, and newly discovered vulnerabilities? So for this one, I'm guessing like if it is like a static kind of environment, in fact, like if there are any vulnerabilities at the virtualization environment, then those we expect that to be addressed at the virtualization environment, like Citrix or any other environments. Otherwise, the desktop client patches. For instance, one of the vulnerability we see is being a Java product JRE updates, timely updates. So we already have published procedure for any JRE vulnerabilities. We have a procedure where customers can upgrade themselves, downloading latest JRE, and we also support automatic updates through desktop client where a centralized location can be identified. So we'll be publishing with the latest JREs as and when we notice the vulnerabilities to address server, desktop client, and all the components. So we request customers to get into the latest updated patches published from CA Support Online, so that will address the vulnerabilities that are there in JRE. Hoping that this answers the question.
Oh, so basically what Ron is saying is, what are you going to do? How are you going to address vulnerabilities when you move away from desktop client to a web-based interface? So Ron, to that point, to Srinivas's earlier point, we continue to look for vulnerabilities in any third-party products that we bundle, and we have a centralized team that keeps monitoring this, and as and when there are vulnerabilities there, our products have to comply and provide fixes. So moving forward from a browser perspective, there are no plugins, obviously, so you don't have to worry about updating it on the browser front. Any updates you'll have to do, it will be on the engine side, so you'll have to apply any patches to ensure that the vulnerabilities are addressed. And Chandra, definitely, we'll provide you with documentation that helps you understand how this version management and the locking and unlocking process works.
Yeah. So yeah, like sure, we'll provide the link. At the same time, this has been there since R11 release, R11.1 release onwards. So it's not something new, but definitely we'll provide the link from where you can find out this.
I'm not sure if you guys answered this one, but it's from Art. Is anything being considered as far as reporting capabilities for the defined perspective?
Yes, we did. Okay. So the plan is to definitely bring in reporting to the browser and provide both reporting, scheduling, and report definition capabilities from the browser itself.
All right. Thanks, guys. That looks like that's the last question. So with that, I thank you very much. Great presentation and great Q&A back and forth. Everyone on the call, again, I'll be posting this replay out in the community later today. And if any questions come up after the fact, please feel free to just post them out in the community, and I'll make sure that our team sees them and get you an answer. All right? Thanks very much, everybody. Have a great day.
One question that just came up. One question that just came up, Len. Do you support a call to the REST web service in R12?
Yeah, so we do have only SOAP web services that's there since R11.3 release. So REST is not introduced in 12.01 release also. So we have plans to publish the RESTful web services from B series and in upcoming releases.
So in the upcoming releases, the two key areas we're going to focus on. From a monitoring perspective, we definitely want to bring in cross-application monitoring capability on the browser. And then secondly, we also want to bring in all the other job types, Informatica, Oracle, EBS, Hadoop. We want to bring all these job types onto the browser so you can do the scheduling from the browser itself. And then when we do that, we also plan to expose all the RESTful services for these job types so you can call them directly from your application itself. See one more follow-up question. Sorry, Len, we see a few more questions. Is it okay if we answer these questions?
Yeah, go ahead, feel free.
Yep.
You also provide information on the best way to locate fixes and updates for ZOS agents.
Oh. Okay, so if I read the question correctly, locate the fixes and updates for ZOS agents. In fact, like on many of the mainframe systems, the ZOS agent comes by default, right? So any updates, it's like with respect to the predefined agent comes with the platform itself. But I will double check on this one and get back to you for any fixes Hoping that answers your question.
Okay, do we have any other questions, everybody? All right, so why don't we go up and wrap up this time? Oh, hold on. Okay, never mind. Sean was just saying thank you. You're welcome. Thanks very much, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you.
Have a great day.